Hey folks, it's John with KGTropicals.com. We've made it to episode 10 of our KGQandA series. Having a lot of fun with this. If you want to get your questions answered on this series, right there is the email address you're going to want to send your questions to. Put them on the list and they will get answered eventually. I got to say something real quick. You see what's behind me here? That is a present that we received from Universal Rocks yesterday. Super excited about it. They're working on a couple of concepts, new things that are really exciting, and I think they might end up being really cool. And they wanted to send me a couple of those products to try out and see what's going on with them, along with some other products, their Holy Rock background and stuff like that. We're going to be overhauling 75 gallon behind me for in bonus. So really excited about that. Thanks to the Duns down there at Universal Rocks for sending us that. We were not expecting it, and it's really cool, and you can expect a video showing that stuff in the very near future. But let's move on to our questions. The first question comes from Brandon Duran Alcantar. Hey John, how can you sex peacocks before they show their colors? We've covered this in a couple episodes, so I'll be brief. A couple of things to look for are size. Males are always going to be larger than the females. Behavior from the males where they're trying to show off for the females. Females, they won't really try to show anything off. So males are going to be a little bit more aggressive. They're going to be a little bit more flashy, and they're going to start to show their colors. If you're wanting to sex peacocks when they're an inch long, give up, because it's not going to happen. So size, when they start to show colors, everybody wants to go egg spots. When they're small, 2 inches or under, you're not going to see egg spots. So give up on that. And when they're below 2 inches, they're really, really difficult to vent. So really the best thing to do is to just show patience and wait for them to get a little bit bigger before you try to sex them. But if you're at the store and you're trying to buy them, you're not going to be picking fish out of the tank to vent them. It wouldn't work anyway. So just look for the largest in the tank. Look for the one that is kind of taking over the tank and pushing all the other fish around. That's usually going to be your male. And if you really look hard enough, a lot of times you'll start to see some colors start to pop through too. Best things to look for if you're trying to sex them small, which you wouldn't be trying to sex them big because it would be obvious. So, all right, Saulo Garcia. Hey, I recently bought a tank all set up with fish and all. I asked the guy what kind of cichlids, and he said African cichlids. Now, from watching your videos, I can see there's a lot of different types of African cichlids. How can I tell the difference from in bonus and other types of cichlids that are in my tank? Would it be okay to take pics of my fish and send them to you? Then maybe you can tell me what kind they are. No, don't do that. I'll tell you why in a minute. I want to add more fish, but I want to know what I have. That way I know more and less what can go in. All right. Thank you, Salo. Don't send me pictures of your fish. I'm sorry to be that blunt, but I get a lot of people that do that, and I'm going to be totally honest with you, it drives me crazy. I'm not a fish identification service, and I can't tell you how many emails I get, and this really offends me. Somebody I don't know, I've never talked to before, never has sent me an email, will send me an email, and on the subject it'll say, what type of fish is this? And a picture. No, hey John, how you doing? No, hey, thanks a lot. No, hey, can you do me a favor? Nothing, just a picture. Gets deleted. I don't even answer those. I don't know, it's one of those things that just drives me crazy. I'm sorry, but I can't sit around and identify people's fish all day long. Plus, it's hard. I mean, you know, there's so many fish that look similar. I don't want to be the one that tells you your fish is one thing and it turns out to be another. So I don't even get mixed up in that. Don't send me photos of your fish. I don't mean to be rude, but look them up. Look them up online, look around, search Mbunas. I mean, there's a million different ways that you can identify your fish. Join a forum, put the photo up there and see how many different results you get, but just don't send them to me. All due respect, I don't want to do that. I get enough of that and it's a big problem. But again, if you go to forums, a lot of people do that. I mean, go on the forum, put your photo up there, and I'm sure you'll get some good answers. Fritz. Hello there. I seen a few of your videos on YouTube. My girl and me have a cichlids tank, 33 gallons, with about 12 cichlids. Most Most double with 8 goldfish, still waiting for them to be food. A small water frog and a bala shark. Bala shark and frog have been alive for over a month. Now I've seen a paddle tail newt, and my $1 million question is, will it be able to survive? I'm not going to go any farther. Don't. No. Just no. Don't do it. Its skin looks tough, and they come to about 3 or 4 inches long. Is there proof it wouldn't survive? No, I don't have proof. I mean, the proof would be put it in there and watch how fast it dies. I don't mean to be a jerk. Look, bottom line is this. A paddle-tailed newt has completely different water parameters than what African cichlids would. They are abnormally aggressive towards fish that are smaller than them. And if the African cichlids are larger than the newt, they're going to be aggressive towards it. It's a disaster waiting to happen. I know it's a really cool looking little reptile looking thing with the cute little feet and all that. Get a different tank, put the newt in there, and while you're at it, put the bala shark in there with it, because that's not going to last very long in your African cichlid tank. And the water frog, let's see, you sent me this on the 19th. The frog's probably dead already. So I don't mean to be disrespectful here. I mean, that's just, I'm just telling you like it is. I'm just telling you the truth. Those little frogs, they don't stand a chance with Africans. I mean, I'm sure there's going to be somebody that says, I've done it and it worked out. Okay, good for you. That's fine. But, you know, my rule book says, no, don't do it. Water parameters are too different. Bala shark's the same way. I mean, you know, everybody tells stories about different fish that mix in with different fish and all that. That's fine. But just to keep things safe and to keep your sanity and not throw money away, just when it comes to tank mates and stuff like that, follow the rules. It's a lot easier that way. Do not put a paddle-tail newt in with your Africans. That's going to be disastrous. That's just me being honest. All right. Whew. Mark Osborne. Hey John, my question is, what is the best, most efficient way to place a filter, specifically canisters? For example, intake on one end, outtake on the other, both intake and out on one end, both on the back, etc. Also, is it better to place the canister itself at the same height as your aquarium so it doesn't have to work as hard, or does that even matter? Thanks and Merry Christmas. He sent this to me on the 19th. Merry Christmas to you, sir. That was a week ago. I'm sorry. It's taken me a while to get to these questions. Happy New Year to you. So, all right, first things first, don't put it at the same level. If you're using a canister filter, don't put it at the same level as your tank. Put it down below. That's the best place for it to go. It takes up less room that way. And 99% of the canister filters out there, the input is gravity fed. So actually, your theory about having it not work as hard is wrong, because the farther the water has to fall, the more gravity is going to pull it down, making the filter actually work less. Now, it's true that the pump in your canister is going to have to work harder to push it up the extra foot, but big deal. That's what they're made to do, so it's not that big of a deal. Put the canister under the tank. The manufacturers of all these canisters actually say that at a bare minimum, have it be the same level as the tank, but I wouldn't do that. It takes up too much room that way. Put it down below. Case is solved. That's fine. Now, the other thing, as far as where to place the input and the output, we're looking for flow. We're looking for circulation of the water. If you have the input and the output both on one side, you're asking the filter to pull water from the complete opposite side of the tank all the way over. And it will, but you want to talk about wanting to make it work hard, that's going to make it work a lot harder. And you're going to have dead zones in the tank where there's not any current or any movement. So it's best, put one on each end. Now, I know that I did not do that on the 240. I've got both my input and my output for the FX6 on one side and the input and the output for the sump on the other. But the two work cohesively. They work together and it works out fine. If I only had the FX6 on there, I'd have my return on the opposite end of the strainer input. So one on each end, you're good to go. Put the canister down below and you'll be fine. Thank you, Mark Osborne. Paul Hackney. Oh, this is a long one. Okay, I guess we have time. Hi, John and Lisa. I have a 6x3x2 tank. That's an odd size. That's a big one. I have a colony of Brochardies and lots of fry. I also have 6 Impembe frontosas. They are only small but beautiful. Yes, they are beautiful. Here's my question. I want to start stripping my fronts when they breed and use a tumbler. I have plenty of rocks in my tank, and I just can't catch the female or sick fish I want because of all the caves and all the hidey holes that they have. My nets get snagged, blah, 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 blah. Okay, no disrespect to you, Paul, but your question's kind of long, so I'm going to cut it off there. I'm short on time. It says, Merry Christmas to you and Lisa and your loved ones. Merry Christmas to you, sir. Thank you very much. And a Happy New Year to you over there in Staffordshire, England. All right. Catching fish is one of those things that's going to be difficult to just talk about. I'm going to probably have to do a video about it, demonstrating what we do, because I get asked this a lot. It is a very difficult thing, especially when we're talking about Africans. Now, if you're trying to catch your Brochardi, that's not going to be easy because they're very fast. Fronts, they're kind of slow moving loafs, you know, they're easier to catch, but you see these tanks that are over the top decorated. The tanks are beautiful, there's no doubt about that, but you do have a challenge when you're trying to catch fish. I mean, you put as soon as the net touches the water, boom, all the fish go into their hiding spots. I understand your frustration. I can't tell you how many nets I've thrown across the room, buckets I've kicked across the room. I've gotten mad trying to catch fish. I literally spent 2 hours trying to catch a fish in that 240 when I had all of the rocks and all that stuff in it. It's a frustrating thing. But this is why I like the barren tank look, because you don't have that issue. In the store and in most pet stores, you're not going to find a lot of decor in tanks. And it's for that reason. It's hard to catch the fish if there's a bunch of rocks and stuff like that. Lisa is adamant about going through, and she puts all these rocks and all this beautiful stuff in the tanks, and I get so mad because we're trying to help customers. We got a bunch of people in here. We're trying to net fish, and it's a hassle. Unfortunately, I don't have a great answer for you here, because if the fish are going and they're hiding behind rocks and all that kind of stuff, I would love to tell you to turn your net around and use the handle to kind of, I don't mean to be mean about it, but kind of poke into the holes to kind of scare them out. Don't poke the fish, but scare them out of the hole. That works, but then you run into the problem of, you know, oops, your hand slips and one of your rocks falls and goes through the bottom of your massive tank that you have, and all of a sudden you've got an ocean in your, or I should say a river or a lake in your living room. So that could be disastrous. The best thing to do if it's an absolute emergency, I know it sounds crazy, but take the stuff out of the tank. It's absurd, I know, but sometimes you got to do it. And that's a big tank, so that's posing another challenge for you. The other piece of advice I could give you is something that Lisa and I did a lot. Use 2 people. 2 nets with 2 different people, and have, you know, one person scaring the fish, not scaring, you know what I'm saying, kind of shooing the fish over to this side where you can take 2 nets together and grab them up. I mean, I don't know how else to describe it. Just talking, I could show you a little bit better, but this isn't a demonstration series. This is a question and answer series, so be looking for a video on that. I get asked that a lot, so I'm gonna end up having to do a video showing how we do it. I can understand your frustration. So we're at 14 minutes. This is the longest one we've done so far. Gonna cut it off here. I wanna thank you all so much for watching. Thanks to all the people that put in the questions today. I hope I wasn't mean to anybody, but you know, I'm not gonna BS you. I'm gonna tell you exactly how I feel about this kind of stuff. So thank you for watching, and we'll see you at episode 11.